Since 1983, FAME has helped business and education work for Maine. Contact the authority, the Finance Authority of Maine. You're watching Mainebiz Sunday, Maine's business news source.
It's been a trying time for nonprofits as funding sources have dried up and budgets are tightened. But Tom Davis, CEO of Skills, Inc. in St. Albans, has managed to keep his organization thriving by diversifying its revenue streams with innovative ideas. Davis, in his role as president of the Maine Association of Nonprofits, has also promoted social enterprise among other Maine nonprofits and stepped in to help Goodwill Hinckley, the struggling mental health service provider that shut down its core residential services and laid off more than 100 employees last year. Please welcome Tom Davis, the Mainebiz 2010 Business Leader of the Year in the nonprofit category. Welcome.
Nice to be with you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This is great. I'm glad to have you here. It's that time of year when I love having all the Business Leader of the Year award winners on. I learned so much about what's going on out in the state because Mainebiz does a really good job of kind of combing through all the possibilities and really sifting through and getting the best ones that got rise to the top. So I'm glad to have you here.
It's a huge honor. Thank you.
So, Skills, Inc. Is a mental health service provider, but it also operates a number of businesses. So tell us about the business organization, what you do, and how many people are involved.
Skills, Inc. Supports people with intellectual disabilities, or what's commonly known as mental retardation.
Okay.
And we operate 40 sites across Kennebec and Somerset County. And what's a little different about supporting people with intellectual disabilities, unlike other services, is it's a lifetime of support. It's not an intervention. It's not a quick fix somebody, cure somebody. A lot of the people we support, we meet at age 18, and we say goodbye at the end of the life. It could be 40, 50, 60 years of support.
Yeah, interesting.
We do all the things that a historical large service provider does. We have homes, we have day programs, we have crisis supports, we have in-home supports. But what we do is a little different, is we operate 6 businesses, and we do those for 2 reasons. Social enterprise, which you referenced, and in case people don't know what that is, that's a business operating to support a social mission.
Okay.
We employ people with disabilities, and we generate profit, hopefully, for the organization. That's what a social enterprise is designed to do. For us, it's the double bottom line, employment and profit.
Right. What's an example of one of those businesses that's the social business part of your organization?
Our first business, which began in 1980, was a sawmill.
Right.
And we didn't call it a social enterprise then, it was just a sawmill.
Right.
It employs 25 employees. Half of those are people with intellectual disabilities. We've done that as kind of our trademark business for 30 years now. But over time, we've added other businesses to that. We run 3 thrift stores. We run a recycling center. We had a kennel for 6 years. We no longer operate that. Right. And our latest venture is called E-Waste Alternative. We recycle computer waste.
Sawmill caught my attention here.
Sure.
That's not very typical, I don't think. So that's not a make-work job. That's not for a person with disabilities. This is actually an operating sawmill that's providing a product.
We compete on the world market.
Good. What % of your total revenues, I guess, is the sawmill business portion?
For the agency?
Yeah.
I don't break it out that way. What I do, if you took the pie chart of Skills, Inc., about 16% of our total revenues come out of the social enterprise division.
Okay. That's good. Is that do you plan to grow that part of the pie?
Well, my hope is over the next 5 years to bump that north of 30%.
Good.
That's my goal.
Yep. And let's talk about just nonprofits in general, and that special social service provider nonprofits. Funds are drying up, federal funds, state funds, those kinds of things. So that business enterprise revenue stream must be a new and important part of your business model.
It's always been an important part of our business model, but it's becoming the difference now between being able to do what you believe you should be doing and want to do on behalf of people, and being compelled to do things that you really don't want to do. It gives you just that little margin of freedom of operation.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have about 340 employees thereabouts.
Full time, yes.
But we were talking about they're not hidden, but it's hard to see that many. That's a big, in the state of Maine, that's a major employer.
But they're scattered across 2 counties into 40 sites.
Right.
And most people think and know local, so they relate to our employees as they exist within those local communities.
Right. And how important kind of the nonprofit world is, and you're an example of that, as to our overall economy in Maine, the value that it provides for those communities and jobs.
Yeah, the nonprofit community as an aggregate is huge. It provides thousands of jobs, is one of the major economic drivers of the economy in Maine.
Right, right. In the profile that they did on you in the Mainebiz newspaper, I found this to be interesting. Your best business advice came from a former boss who was a liquor store owner and an Auschwitz survivor. And he said, quote, "Think of something truly unique that's never been done before." So, tell me how you use that philosophy.
He was an amazing man, one of the most amazing people I've ever met. But I think his real message to me was think more than anything else.
Okay.
His name was Alex, and he really tried to inculcate, not only in me, but everybody he came into contact with, because he'd been in the camps, because he'd seen so much death, and he knew how precious time is. It's a commodity you don't know how much you have.
Right.
He wanted you to make the most of that commodity. So his message to me was take every day and think, are you doing the right things? Are you doing it the right way? And are you doing it in the right order?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as to think of something unique, I'm still working on that piece.
Okay, good. Well, I think that's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
I'm always working on it. Another important piece of business advice came to you in the form of a question. And the question was, does it sell cheese?
From my dad.
Yeah. What does that mean? I love that.
Yeah, me too. Although as a kid, I didn't like it very much because I heard it 1,000 times. My dad started out driving a truck for Kraft Food and ended up vice president of marketing.
Okay.
He had one job his whole life, 49 years, and that was his mantra. He related everything through that filter. So when he had a question as to whether or not any proposition made sense for him and for his company, that's his reference point.
Does it
It's
sell
true
cheese?
north.
Sorry, I'm going to use that one now.
Okay.
Something I like the sound of that one, by the way. How is running a nonprofit different than running a for-profit business? Because you've been in both. This is not your background. You have a for-profit background. What's the difference? And how are they alike?
They're more alike than different,
Okay,
in my opinion. Obviously, the business models may be different, and in both cases, they have to be a viable business model. But at the end of the day, the core ingredient for a successful for-profit or nonprofit is relationship building. You have to have relationships with your suppliers, with your staff, with your sales, and it's the same across both lines. I've never seen the huge dichotomy between for-profit and nonprofit. Some people do. I've never looked at it that way.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, people oftentimes don't think of nonprofits as a business. They are a business, and you have a lot of the same functions that other regular businesses do, for-profit businesses, and the same pressures also. How is it to run a nonprofit in Maine? Is Maine a favorable environment for running a nonprofit business? What are the options?
I think Maine is a difficult environment for any business, for-profit or nonprofit.
Right.
We have a small population.
Yep.
One of the things I think about when I go away, my sister happens to live in downtown Chicago. There's more people on Michigan Avenue than in our whole state.
Right.
But I'm in Chicago for about a week, and I can't wait to get back to Maine. I mean, Maine is a great place. But the challenge is for it to be a great place and a great place to run a business.
Right, right.
And that's what it's struggling with, clearly.
Exactly, and nonprofits struggle with that, for-profit businesses, and that's our challenge, I think,
Yep.
and we hear about it every week. And we're glad you're here to help kind of work on that challenge. We're going to wrap right there, but we're going to keep you around for an afterthought segment that we're going to show on the web. We want to come back and talk more about your work with the Maine Association of Nonprofits and the work that you've been doing with the Goodwill Hinckley Group, too. I'm interested in talking more about that,
Great.
so stick around.
Great.
Stick around. You can see more of this on our Afterthought segment, only seen on the web. Go to mainebiz.biz.
Mainebiz Sunday is brought to you by Bangor Savings Bank, where you can enjoy free ATMs worldwide.